All right, we're going to start with the nation. Nigerians face harder times as CBN raises interest rate. Picture of Lagos State delivery of trains for the red line system. Akeredolu's mom for burial, November 12th. NDLA sets ablaze 1.8 tons of cocaine. Presidency to Akeredolu, no states can arm security outfits. Suspend Ogun governor's aide, Rufai, jailed 5 years in the U.S. Atiku, I'll be stepping the stone for Igbo presidency. Oil theft on Polo's gunboats storm Niger Delta creeks. And all 18 presidential candidates face litigation, says INEC. All right, which story are we starting with?
So, Amoteko, finally, the presidency responded. Since that the governor of
has been talking since.
Has been talking. They decided just now to respond saying that, no state was granted approval for the use of arms and ammunition for their state security outfit or any regional outfit for that matter, and that only the NSA, as the National Security Advisor's Office, is empowered to authorize the use of arms and ammunition, following any outfit. And they went on and on and on. They went at him for politicizing security. They said all sorts. But the question is, the Katsina security outfit wielded and displayed firearms outside. So what's the consequence for that?
And the governor cannot say something unfounded claims that how can you give. So for the governor to say that, he must have reasons.
What is the consequence of what the governor did if the NSA did not approve of it before you say somebody's politicizing? Because it took you 2 weeks. Maybe you were investigating your own authorization in 2 weeks for you to respond. So now that you've responded, please investigate Katsina and the governor of Katsina and find out if they have any authorization to carry firearms and display it in that manner.
And then do something about it. So the former militant leader, government Ememu Polo, a.k.a. Tom Polo, said has deployed dozens of gunboats in Niger Delta creeks to fish out pipeline vandals, illegal refiners, and illegal oil installations. We remember that the commander for the movement for emancipation of Niger Delta, that's Tom Polo, was given a contract recently, 4.5 billion monthly surveillance contracts from the federal government and NNPC. And so, despite all the controversies that came out of it, he was able to settle down and commence operations. And they said there were dozens of speedboats and gunboats comprising operatives of the Navy, Army, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and they embarked on their first operation on Monday. The joint operation took over 1,000 youths that accompanied the armed men to the operations for their first assignment. And they said the youths were recruited from the host communities. So the idea is to ensure that they recruit about 20,000 youths from those host communities, find a way to give them those jobs so that they can further secure our pipelines.
So yesterday we had the DG of Lamata here on Your View, and coincidentally it was the same day Lagos State received the red line, the cars. They received them from Milwaukee in the United States yesterday. They took delivery of all the red rail cars. And according to the Commissioner for Information, this is such a huge milestone for the Babajide Sanwo-Olu administration because they're going to introduce rail modes into transportation in the Nigeria's Commercial Nerve Center. And also, if you recall, based on what the DG said yesterday, the red line is a 37-kilometer train. I think it's going to be running from Agbado and starting to Oyingbo. And and she also told us yesterday that by first quarter next year, both red lines and blue lines should be completed and ready for commercial use. Okay, let's move on now to the Punch. First, I must say that the presidential candidate for PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has paid all the front pages.
I'm taking his story in the
taking all
Sun.
the major stories, but either way, we'll take the stories that we can find. The Punch, 2023, Atiku governors land in Abuja. Tinubu Obi delay campaigns. Business face cash crunch. Interest rate hits 15.5%. $350,000 fraud. $350,000 fraud. America jails Abiodun's ex-aide for stealing 20,000 identities. Ogun State reacts. I had that story. So this happened in Washington, D.C., I believe. Let me find that story. So many of you heard the story where we had Abidemi Rufai, who was an ex-aide of Governor Abiodun, Governor Dakpo Abiodun, and he's been in prison for 5 years in Washington, D.C. According to reports, and many of us have followed that story, where he was said to have stolen the information of more than 20,000 Americans to perpetrate series of cyber fraud. And this happened, of course, recently.
Total amount, $350,000.
So the total figure comes at $350,000, yes. And he said that for his attempt also to steal $2.4 million from the United States Department, including $500,000 in pandemic-related unemployment benefits. So this is a really, really sad situation. But let me find the response of the Ogun State government, which is not in this article, but pretty much it's not a good story.
We can get that later.
We can always get that later.
Okay, so there's a report in the Punch on an undercover report by Punch on one way. And so what they discovered is that some police officers, some members of Lagos State staff, following the auctioning of about 134 vehicles, they found out that there is a practice of removing of one-way signage, and then, deliberately misleading motorists to enter into a one-way and then arresting them for violating one-way. And this report is seriously damning, if I can use that word. I hope that...
Did you get the name of the place? Because they
different
mentioned
areas
it there.
were reported, Iyanoworo, Olojo Drive, and I have experiences on Yaba. Personal experiences. I would be wondering, you'll be on the map, and the map will be saying traffic is light here. You turn into that place and they come on your car. And I'll be like, where's the one way? They'll say, you cannot see it. They'll confuse you. You keep looking back, and then somebody would, so as if they want to raid your car. I had that experience, and I know that these things happen. Yes, it is wrong to use one way. I would never deliberately use a one way, but it would be even worse off to have your own citizens, your own law enforcement officers
removing the signage
you deliberately just to arrest you. When you know
That's
the
kind of
consequences is possibly impounding or destruction or even auctioning on the person's car. So
And
I think they should clean things up.
Yes, I have another story in the Punch. So the Lagos State Police Command on Tuesday arraigned 2 residents of Orile Oko-Oba in the Agege area of the state before an Ogba Magistrate court for allegedly assaulting an official of an electricity distribution company, Ikeja Electric. So the men were charged with 4 counts of assault, causing breach of public peace. They've been in court, and the matter was adjourned to November 15 with a bail sum of 250 and sureties. However, residents of the environment were claiming that these Ikeja Electric always come there with police to harass residents to pay their bill, and they were tired of the estimated billing that they give to them. So they come there, and sometimes with the police will be shooting in the air while they are driving people to, pay their estimated billing, that they were tired. They had placards in front of the court shouting. So I think the government needs to investigate this. I don't know why Ikeja Electric will use police to collect money. And these people have been saying that they want the prepaid billing, not the estimated billing. They have to do something about this.
Okay, moving on now to Daily Sun. Presidency, my victory will be stepping stone for Southeast, says Atiku. PDP crisis, I won't abandon Wike, says Governor Otom. More cracks in APC over campaign council as key party leaders aggrieved, maintain distance from the PCC. Let me start with Governor Otom. He said that he remains on the side of Governor Wike. What's that word? Bagada, Gidigba. Gidigba. Yeah. Gidigba. Right? He's on the side of that because there were rumors that he was supporting the chairman, Iocha Ayu, and he said no, that he has these very close friends with Wike. According to him, he says that the Benue governor said that the party leadership has not been fair to Governor Wike based on activities that took place during the primaries and the convention. He said we have not been able to deploy the internal conflict mechanism within the party to resolve the issues. However, he has not moved away from the party, and he will continue to sympathize with Wike, but he will definitely support whichever the presidential candidate of the party. So there are no issues of him decamping or supporting other factions. Okay.
Yes. So the major headline that has been on all the papers.
Yeah, so
the presidential candidate,
Atiku.
yes, of People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, yesterday was telling the people of the Southeast that his presidency, if elected in next year's poll, will be a stepping stone to the zone producing the president of Nigeria. So he will start first, then they will be able to lay on top of him and rise. So he consulted with the leaders and stakeholders of the party from the 5 Southeast states, and he was accompanied by his running mate, that's the governor for Delta State, Oko-Oba. And then he went ahead to say that he's determined to revive the nation's economy. He understands how industrious the Southeasterners are, and any government that needs to make impact must carry the Southeast along, that they have so far supported him for a very long time, and he's there to ensure that they can build on their business acumen and move the economy forward. He went ahead to promise a whole lot of things that he's going to be doing for Nigeria. What we're talking about right now is about unity, carrying everybody along, and he has the capacity to carry everybody. I think people should read the article.
Yeah,
they were well outlined. Yeah, he talked about restructuring. He's going to restructure, make sure that the federating states have enough power to come together. So, and restructuring is not just for one person. So he also begged the youths to stop the sit at home on Mondays because it's not paying them. Right. They all need to work together.
Okay, let's go on a break. Well, game on. Game has started.
Game on, yeah.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to take Vanguard now. Mixed outlook for parties as campaigns begin today. I took a story inside Vanguard about the hashtag #NSAS report, which has actually been submitted officially to the federal government 2 years after. This was presented by the chairman, Justice Suleiman Galadima, retired, and he handed it over to the ES of the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, Tony Ujoku, who noted that compensation is just part of one step of the road to justice on this hashtag, of this NSAS issue. Furthermore, he said, and that's the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, said that they still need to hold the indicted officers of the Nigerian police accountable for these violations of human rights. If you recall, like I'm just going to run down very quickly part of the highlights of the report, which is that there were a total of 295 petitions. 95 were decided and 33 were struck out. 54 complaints were withdrawn, 57 referred to the Human Rights Commission, while 56 others were judgment petitions, and 72 police officers were found guilty for having various human rights infractions, while 25 officers were recommended for dismissals, 15 others had to suffer reduction in rank. So the good thing is that the report was actually implemented across board, and about 39 petitioners of extrajudicial killings got the 220 million naira compensation, which we read also in the paper. So we saw the start and we saw the finish. So now it's just for the government to implement the final stage of the federal government to ensure that the police force ensures that it completes this totally, and so that Nigerians can see that justice indeed was served for the people. Another story in Vanguard?
Yes, so for the past months now, I think there's been a lot of lamentations by motorists plying the Asaba-Onitsha bridge. There's a lot of traffic going on there. I know there's been this construction for the second Niger bridge that's been, they've been trying to do. So the first promise was that they would have completed it by October, and commuters were expecting that at least before November, December, when you have that interstate Christmas rush, the road would have been completed. They're complaining that they stay there for hours. A journey that's supposed to take just 5 minutes takes them 2 to 3 hours, sometimes even 4 hours on the bridge. And they are appealing to the government to hurry up and complete it. So most of them were a bit disappointed that it's not going to, it's looking like October is no longer feasible, and, you know, nothing is being done about it. But the Minister Fashola, spoke recently and was saying that before December, the second Niger bridge would have been open for commuters, so there's still a bit more hope. And one of the things that delayed them was the COVID-19, because they were coming initially at fast speed, but for COVID and then every other thing. And they also complained that some community members were, you know, looking for one contract or the other, which was really delaying the work going on there. But let's see how December works.
They've also promised us that Lagos Ibadan too. So we are a lot of things we're waiting for.
A lot of work is going on, yes.
Minister of Works.
Yeah.
December, second Niger bridge, December, Lagos Ibadan Expressway, we're waiting.
So the Benue State Emergency Management Agency's Executive Secretary has spoken about the flood they're experiencing presently in Benue State. 23 persons have died, flooded away, 74 others seriously injured. 116,000 people displaced presently. And the one that is most disheartening for me is 14,000 hectares of farmland washed away. So not only did they lose where they live, they lost their livelihood as well. 4,411 houses so far been submerged in water, and the pictures are not encouraging, they're gory. They're asking, he's saying that the state is overwhelmed, they can handle it. They're asking for federal government assistance. They're looking at humanitarian organizations to help. I hope that the governor will leave politicking and also focus on what is happening at home. When you lose farmlands like that, in a state that is very agric-based, it is supposed to be painful for any leader and enough to concern himself about.
Okay, I was going to now move on quickly now to the Guardian. I'm not sure if we took Guardian. Let's see, economy in rare credit squeeze as CBN continues with 20-year high interest. Court orders INEC to publish names of candidates in Edo governor's faction. Wike brings back legacy 600 aircrafts abandoned in Germany. Stop inducing dividing Christians. Northern elders advise APC. Court nullifies Ogun PDP partnership, Kebbi Central Senatorial District primaries. And finally, 2023 elections, how Nigerian politicians deceive electorate by Peter Obi. I actually wanted to take that story by Peter Obi, where he was saying that I didn't take that story, but I think I read it very briefly. And it was admonishing those who were speaking to that many politicians will come and try to induce you that we shouldn't have an election of divisive elections, that people should be voted based on their competence. And it's not about anybody's turn. It's about the fact that the Nigerian people's turn is the people's turn. And he was going on the fact that even if he gives you money, collect it. But the point is that you must vote your conscience. I think that's what he was saying in a nutshell. I think that is all we can take on front page review. As I said, today marks the start of the political campaigns, and we could sell that from all the papers. Everybody's not doing front page. It might be difficult to get some real stories, but we'll have to be looking beyond the political stories. But the truth is, I think Nigerians should be careful, especially using negative energy at this time, especially bad words. These are things that can cause damage even your candidates.
Yeah, true.
So the best thing for us to do is let's us be clear on what we want and be very clear on what we're looking for, and then ask for Nigerians to vote their conscience. It's not about the carrying placard. It's about waking up that day, going out, line up and voting. All your speaking English is not going to work. All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll start with our hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.